Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's 4 o'clock, and when it's 4 o'clock, you know what that means. It is football discussion time here on Chris the Sports Guys channel. My name is Chris the Sports Guy, of course. And if you guys saw the post last night and today, you would know that today we will be discussing schoolboy football. Schoolboy football is back, Manning Cup and the Costa Cup. And we see the groups and we will be discussing them. Of course, I'll be having a guest on the show, and hopefully he will be coming in a minute or so, that will be discussing the groups. There are 8 groups in the Costa Cup, and I believe 3. Yes, there are 3 groups in Manning Cup. And it's going to be a little bit different this year because if you guys notice, and persons who love schoolboy football would notice, that schoolboy football should have started 2 months ago. And because it didn't start 2 months ago, it's starting because of COVID-19 protocols. So finally, we have the guest on stream, Mr. Phil Riley. Of course, I have been working with Sportsmax as a commentator and an analyst for about 3 years now. And he is one of the most integral persons in me getting into sports commentary. Phil, welcome to the show.
Yeah, man. Thanks. Great.
All right. So tell me necessarily how rigorous it was in getting that sign off in terms of the go ahead from the government, because I know persons were working hard to make this thing happen. So tell me a little bit about that, because I know it wasn't easy.
Once track and field got the go ahead, and then Jamaica Premier League got the go ahead, then it became easier. But with the rise of the vaccinations, that posed an interesting situation. So to move towards getting a clearance, then and the government is pushing vaccinations, and you would also think that in order for any other sport to take place, you would have to go in that vein. So that was the decision made by ISA, and once they had the protocols in place and agree that all players and officials would have to be vaccinated, then I think it was an easier decision than before, because I don't think ISA would have wanted to get back into a situation where they paid many millions to do testing for track and field back in May. So they weren't interested in that. So it was a better sell for them to go the way of, hey, let's get everybody vaccinated.
So you talk about the protocols and the rules governing persons being vaccinated. We see a more concise set of groups, because as you and I know, working together for the past 3 years, we know how the Costa Cup is much larger than the 8 groups we have and the schools we have. And of course, Manning Cup is much larger than the 3 groups we have for Manning Cup. Is it because that the students weren't vaccinated was the reason why we have such a concise competition this year for both?
I'm sure that's a part of it, but I know that's not a large part of it. The fact that there's no face-to-face school poses a problem for many schools, because many schools, most of the mid-tier, smaller schools, fund their program through Talk Shop. Now, if there's no Talk Shop, there's no program. So that in and of itself took away several of those schools. And if you notice, all of the traditional schools are involved. You can't look at the list of teams across the 2 competitions and say, oh, but that big school is missing, because generally they the larger schools, and I must be careful in saying the larger schools because uh, it's a tricky
Yeah.
subject. Um, but the schools that normally do well
Hmm.
in schoolboy football, they are all there. You
Yes.
know, they're all there, and that's because they're past students association. They're for the boys school, their old boys association as coming. Some of them were there before, and being able to help to finance and to help to cut that shortfall where tuck shop or certain other activities that go on in the day-to-day school while face-to-face is there. uh, they're able to fund their programs, or at least be able to feel a team, because those programs still have, if you ask any coach, if you ask any HOD, they will tell you, oh, we've had a rough time in terms of financing, but the old boys, the old girls, they have come along and helped to fix that, to help to offset the cost that they have been facing.
Yeah. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, the eight groups in Manning Cup. Um, let's see where it goes, because I know most times I want to ask you before we'll go through that. When you group these schools, is it because of parish and region? Because I see where for the Da Costa Cup, Group D has Bel Air, Belfield, Christiana de Carteret, Homewood, and Manchester, which hails from that parish of Manchester. Is it that's what you guys normally, or they normally group it as
When
with
you say
ISA?
you guys, I'm not a part of ISA.
Yeah, I'm trying to phrase it with ISA. So
Yeah.
do you think that normally with being associated with schoolboy football for a while, is that what they normally do in terms of parish?
I think if you look at this list and you bring up the parishes
Mm-hmm.
in the country, you will see that they tried their best to um put the teams in relation to their parishes and in terms of their geographical location with each other. Of course, that it would have been a, a tough task by the organizers to get 53 schools. You normally have between 80 and 90 schools in the La Costa Cup. Last time around in 2019, they had 85 schools. Now, subtract 53 from 85, what's that? 32?
Yeah.
So that's 32 schools right across the country. So they had to, of course, understanding the situation it poses with the traveling and everything, because in the country the places are far from each other. In Kingston, the teams are in essence, the schools are in essence close, except for the schools in St. Catherine, but they're far from each other, so they had to find a way to get them closer to each other. Plus, some of these parishes normally have about 2 or 3 groups. Clarendon, Manchester, those parishes normally have 2 or 3 groups. So Saint James normally have about two or 3 groups, split with also the Trelawney teams. So they've had to see how best to cut down the traveling and cutting across the border, so to speak, for teams to play. So I think they've done a pretty decent job here to um to get these teams in 8 groups. I'm sure it was a very difficult thing to get them down to 8. As opposed to 15 and 16 in the past. We have to realize that the groups, they
Yeah.
had 15 or 16 groups in 2019 and now down to 8. That is no easy feat.
Yeah.
Yes, the St. Thomas Portland might have been an easy situation, but we get to places like St. Catherine, Clarendon, places like that, Manchester, it's not easy at all.
Yeah, not easy indeed. Cutting it down to half, that's a pretty big chop, as they would say.
Right.
Now, what what do you think about the ones that are left? We know that schoolboy football is a big thing in the country, something that a lot of people watch and view and are excited a lot about, Phil. Um, do you think that the whole essence of the competition, albeit during a pandemic, do you think that the essence is still there? Because I know you talk about the big schools, Manchester High, Cornwall College. There are many schools in the Costa Cup, Jamaica College, St. George's College, Wolmer's, Kingston College in Manning Cup. Do you think the essence is still there with a lot of these traditionally successful schools in schoolboy competition still there?
They're all there. I mean, so I think it is there. I think they're excited about this year. I mean, the names are there. Cornwall is there. I mean, that's when you look at Group A from the Da Costa Cup. St. James is still there. William Neb is there. Herbert Marson has
Mm-hmm.
won 2 titles. They're there. It's been a while though, but you know, Frome is there. Green Island, all those teams. As
States
you come
as
Rossi.
well. CC, the former champion, the
Yes,
defending champions.
BB Coke won their first Ben Francis title. They're
Mm-hmm.
there in Group C. Stets is there. Monroe is there. You know, big up to the Monroonians. That's what you call them. You know, they haven't won since what, like 1954 or something like that.
Yeah.
They would love to get to the next round. When you get to Group D, Manchester High is there. Interestingly, no team from Manchester has ever won the Costa Cup.
Yes, I know that. Remember, I've been working in close proximity with
Yeah,
them.
no
So,
team. So I'm
yeah,
sure they be looking forward to playing this year and trying to change that narrative. Of course, the Clarendon groups, look at that group. Clarendon College, Denby, Edwin Allen, Glenmuir. I mean,
as
it's
well.
been years. Clarendon College, Glenmuir. I've been in the same group.
Mhm.
Lennon. I wouldn't want to be in that group.
Yeah, it's a very
I
tough
wouldn't want
group.
to be in that group. I think that's a tough group,
Yeah, it's
because
very tough.
you have some titles in that group right there, and some of the other group teams in the group, have something to say about that. Edwin Allen would love to push and be known more more as a sports school rather than just a school with a girls track program. So I'm sure they. And then when you get to the next group, you have Veer Central, Garvey, Olaba High. All
Veer.
those schools have done well for themselves over the years. They have gotten deep into the competition,
Uh-huh.
and they
Well, he jumped off a little bit. See if him can. I'll see if he can come back. But yeah, I mean the story of the Manning Cup and the Costa Cup is always there. Hopefully he comes back and I can speak to him more about that, and maybe we can take a trip down memory lane to my first time with them, and we can get ahead on that one. So um guys, hopefully you guys are still here. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'm gonna see if I can get him back onto the live. Let's see. Let's see if we can jump back on. And we can go forward with this. So he talked about a lot of stuff. Talked about the different groups, the different protocols. Part of it, what's gonna happen. It's so crazy that in 2019 they had 16 groups and now it's 8, and it's really puzzling to me. But I mean, the protocols have to be in place. Everything has to be 100% smack bang in the middle, and the T's have to be crossed, the I's have to be dotted for them to go ahead. And one thing he said was that track and field made that transition when we looked at champs. And now the fact that we have schoolboy football, it's a good thing. So Phil, sorry about that. I'm not sure how you were jumped off, but yeah, as you were talking about the different groups of the Costa Cup, you mentioned Group G, but we also look at Charlemont High School. I believe they were they in the finals of the Ben Francis Cup. Didn't they win the Ben Francis Cup in 2018?
They won in 2018.
Right. I was the analyst for that game, if memory serves me correctly. And then you have also Dintil as well. So there are a host of schools.
And McGraw that went to the semifinal.
Right.
In 2019. So
in 2019. So we see a host of schools that are here that have had some amount of success. So we talk about 2019, we talk about 2018. Let's jump to 2018. Because I want to talk about as we see Jamal joining, a former St. George's College student, of course, an avid schoolboy football lover. Jamal, welcome to the show.
What's up?
Yeah, man, I'm here. So Phil, take us back to 2018. Manning Cup Finals, Battle of North Street. It was a very, very intense build-up. You know, we've always been rivals in everything, whether it's basketball, sometimes even school challenge quiz. We know Kingston College reigned supreme, but then we saw the resurgence through Ludlow Bernard of Kingston College through Manning Cup. Talk to me about the whole build-up, because I know you guys over at Sportsmax does an excellent job in building the matchups leading up to that all-important day. So talk to me about the whole build-up and what was the atmosphere like around the island leading up to those finals.
Well, the first thing in the research, and big up Jamal, in the research you found out that it was the first Casey and George was meeting in the finals.
Yes.
That was just unbelievable. And that just opened the store for a big story. And we were just having that discussion about just in the office the other day, just talking about this match, you know, and how it shifted. And everybody out there would say, boy, George just give her that one, you know, because less than 5 minutes to go.
Yes.
George is leading 2-1.
Had a golden opportunity.
I'm trying to. The name of the player just keeps.
Damani Harris.
Damani Harris, of course.
Yes.
Damani, a left-footed player, very good player actually. Get a easy chance. One that he could score in his sleep.
Yeah.
But he was awake and didn't score. You know, and he hit the crossbar. The ball went up. Actually, there's a shot of him holding his head, looking as the ball goes upfield. And as the ball goes upfield, it go and Casey score.
Yes.
2-2, and he's like this. And it's 2-2, you know. And the game, remember, you know, in schoolboy football now, you know, as the game goes to 90 minutes, you know, is penalties, you know.
Yes.
So George is still in the game, you know. But George is out of the game.
Yep.
If you look at the Georgians, everybody say, hey, we'll lose. Just keep your head, all right? You give up a goal, you would have been leading 3-1 and the game done because you're killing Casey. You are balling. But you miss a chance and everybody does like, oh Lord, we lose.
Yeah.
And then worse, the next part of the story is Nathan, can't remember his last name. Casey.
Nathan Thomas.
Yes. Nathan Thomas. Ludlow called him to the sideline about to sub him off. Him said, no, coach, don't take me out. No, this man, I can't remember him scoring a goal for KC. I can't remember him taking a shot for KC in all my years of watching KC play.
Right.
He is the last person to score. Worse than I don't think worse than anybody else. He's the last person to score. He's a coach. Keep let me stay on. Man, take a speculative shot. As a matter of fact, the ball is going outside. If you look back at that shot, it's actually an own goal, you know. And him
Yeah.
throw, yeah. Nathaniel Brown is Brown.
Nathaniel Campbell.
Campbell. Nathaniel, I'm just missing the last names this today. Heads the ball back into the goal. Georges lose.
I mean, it's this is the stuff of legends, as they would call it, for schoolboy football. And when you look at it, I mean, it was just a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, in fact, was the last time a schoolboy football competition was played. And it's crazy to think that one of the persons that, of course, we know that Clarendon College won back-to-back All-Ireland titles.
Yeah.
And a part of that 2019 Clarendon College team, Phil and Jamal, was Lamar Walker. He's now a part of the senior national team. Jamal, tell me about how you think that comes full circle, because a lot of persons were talking about schoolboy football not making that necessary transition for a lot of the youths into the senior setup. Now we see persons like Javane Brown and Lamar Walker, who are recent schoolboy football players and standouts, now in the national team. You're muted.
You hear me now?
Yeah, I'm hearing you now.
Okay, I think one of the issues, or anyway, the biggest issue isn't something that is on the part of schoolboy football or even the players themselves. I think the biggest issue was just the players needed to have an opportunity. They needed to get that trust from the managers who were in charge of the national team at the time, to give them a run out, to give them the opportunity to come into the national setup. Because a lot of these players, particularly when they just leave high school, they're in pretty good form. They'll go on to collegiate football in, the States or wherever else. Some maybe stay locally. But they go on to those levels and now they're kind of rediscovering themselves and their place within a team. If you were to just like take them immediately into the national setup where they're still on that high, where they're still feeling themselves basically, and you bring them into the team and you just kind of help them along that way, you would have gotten, I think, good players coming in, good young players. And these could have been guys that now that they're in the team and they know what it's all about, maybe they won't be starters or like major players in the team for a couple of years. But remember, by the time you leave in high school, you're 17, 18, 19, the oldest. You know, um, that is generational now. If you have like even 4 or 5 of them, and not just Manning Cup, of course, or the Costa Cup as well. If you have just 5 of those guys coming across from that time, and you have them carrying them through the whole time, you can look at 5 guys now by the time say they're 26, 25, 26, and that's about, what's that, about 5 years time. You get me, at the oldest anyway. You have 5 guys who can now be the heartbeat of the team. And so now say the foreign players, say some of the later bloomers who you bring into the team, they have these people around them who have been here all along, who knows what it's all about, and they can, help to endear some culture into the team. So I think it's just a situation where, because Lamar Walker is a very good player, we know this, right? It's just a situation, and Javane Brown, it's just a situation where we're now, or where Tapa is now trying to I guess he's looking for some answers, but he's just giving the opportunity to some of these players, and I think it's something that should have been happening for a long time. So I don't see it as something that is any revolution. I just see it as something that should have been happening for a long time.
Yeah. So, Phil, I want to get your answer first, and then I go to Jamal. What is going to be, or what always excites the audience for schoolboy football whenever it comes around? Because I know with the build up, we talk about the build up of the finals, but I know you guys do well in building up the competition before it happens. So what normally excites the audience or the fans to watch schoolboy football when it does come up? Not only in Jamaica, but of course in the region, because I know persons outside of Jamaica watch it as well.
I want to touch on the that point first, and then come back to what excites the,
Yeah,
because
man.
I think we need to give our young players more chances. If
Right.
I mean, to me, Lamar Walker hasn't really been given um, the chance to show what he's worth. I think he's a better player than 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 they've given him an opportunity. And I made a statement the other day in a group, and I would say it here. I'm a big Juventus fan,
Right.
and Weston McKennie, if he was a Jamaican, I would say this: if he was a Jamaican, he'd be playing for Cavalier. And
Right.
and let me qualify why that, because we need to push forward our young players some more. And he I like the player. He's a good player. But I don't think that he is much better than any of our midfielders. I don't think he is. I don't I see Lamar Walker as everything. He works hard, he can kick free kicks, he can dribble, he's very skillful. Give the players some more chances. Let them express themselves. You know, we- we're going back for people like Aka, who is 38. Marquis served the country well, but we have to trust our young players. I have to point to the under 20 team that narrowly failed to qualify for the World Cup 2 years ago.
Mhm.
10 of the 11 starters, if I remember correctly, came right out of schoolboy football. And that including Tariq McGee, that included Nick Daly,
You're there.
stats goalkeeper,
Jaden White.
Jaden White,
Mhm.
and I was Tevin Rochester,
Mhm.
the right back for JC, to Malik
Well, yeah, and
Howell.
yeah, Malik Cowell, right.
Yeah. So those guys came right up out of the. So we have talent here. A lot of people don't believe that we have talent. A lot of people don't believe that schoolboy football is, but it's more of opportunities. Are we giving the players the opportunities? When they go to the US, do we track them? Do we track them? The two leading goal scorers from 2018 Manning Cup. That's Damani
Shannon.
Hutchinson and St. Catherine player.
Oh,
He got
oh,
leading
the
goal
man
scorer.
you're talking, the man from Excelsior,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to remember the St. Catherine player, but I know who you're talking.
He was the leading goal scorer. Both of them finished tied on the same amount of goals. Or I think I still remember the St. Catherine player's name. Those two players are at the same school right now. Hutchinson is on 29 goals the last time I checked from about 15 games. Are we keeping track of the players?
No.
They usually turn up back when they're about 27, 28.
Or they retire? I was
Right.
having a discussion. Remember
Mark
the JC
Adin.
team from 2010 with
I think
Ashani Walker.
I think Jermila is mentioned in the player.
Markovich Brown.
Yeah.
Markovich Brown is his player. Is the
Yeah.
name of the player. Those
But
two guys are at the same school now in the US. The two
but even
leading goal
so,
scorers from the Manning Cup in 2018 at the same school. And they've them gone close to 40 goals, if not more, right now. And that was last week.
yeah.
Are we keeping track of them? We're not. And
No, we're
so
not.
many of our best players leave every single year on scholarship. What do we do? What it means is that the other players that are left were players either they didn't qualify for a US scholarship or they didn't want to go. But a lot of our better players go. So that means that we need to follow those guys.
Yeah.
And I was having a discussion about the JC team that won the treble in 2010.
2010. Mm-hmm.
That's Shani Walker and all those guys. I hear that none of those guys still playing football. Not one.
That's crazy. That's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
And when you look at it, the 2018 Manning Cup team of the season, when you look at them and what they've been able to do, I mean, we're not keeping a track of those players either. All right, so the guy that was leading the attack apart from Damani Harris, Shantamoy Taylor. Mm-hmm. No, I'm not seeing a lot of people talking about Shantamoy either. And I speak to Shantamoy almost every day. Shantamoy saying he's getting himself prepared to play more football. But what are we doing to track these young players? What are we doing to keep an eye on these young players? Because
isn't he at Waterhouse?
He was, but he's not playing at the moment.
Yeah, because I didn't see him suit up at all.
No, he's not playing at the moment. He's going to go. I think he's going abroad. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to check back with him. But we're not keeping a track of these players. And if you really look at it, instead of us trying to outsource them, we can look at the young players and see that we have them right here at our disposal. We do have them.
What we need to do is, well, when these guys do well, we need to keep a track of them, and we need to also get them into some of the best leagues in the world. You know, we need to get them there. If we have our top striker at Charleroi, which is a very good club.
Yeah.
What are we doing to get another player there? We have Leon Bailey at Aston Villa. What are we doing to get another player there? You know, when you look at the teams in CONCACAF and you start calling the names, you start calling the Mexicans and who they play for. Inter, Napoli. Your head start to hurt you. Mm-hmm. When you watch Lozano play for
Chucky Lozano for Napoli.
For Napoli. Come on. You have players at PSG. You have players at Genk, at Bruges. Clubs like that.
Playing
Dortmund,
in the
Tyler Adams at Dortmund. Besiktas. Why we can't get some of our players playing in the Champions League? Not necessarily at the name brand clubs, but playing every day against these players. And then we get the 1 and 2 there. We have to do a better job at that. We have to track our players. We have to get them where they're supposed.
Because part of it is that these clubs, to really take up these younger players, they have to be exceptional talents. By whatever measure that they use to determine that. But one of the measures that everybody uses is how often they're involved in national setups. You get me? Whether it's at age group level or senior level. And that is why they need to get that involvement. You get me? So when you come fresh off your schoolboy football career, you shouldn't have to wait another 8 years before you play football for the national team. You should be getting regular rotation into the squad. Now, it's not that we play football every week as you do international football every week as you do for club football. But there is enough opportunity, I think, if you're going to because remember, like I said, at the ages that they're leaving, they're still eligible to play for under 20. And there's a under 20 World Cup every 2 years, isn't there?
I think they've changed it.
Okay. But, there's a regular, what I'm saying is there's enough football going around for them at that age because they'd have the under 20 stuff to deal with. And if you're regular in that, you can now add the Olympics into it as well, because remember, that's a youth competition as well. And then, of course, there's the international setup. And it's not that, like I said, you're not inviting everybody. You're going to give a couple of youths a chance. If it's even just taking it at face value and you say, all right, best scorer and best player, whoever have the most assists and some standout defender. Just those 4, if it happens to be 4. You bring them into the team. And maybe the best goalkeeper and you bring them into the team. Get them blooded, get them in the system, because the point is not so much for them to have 50 caps by the time they're 20. The point is that they're into this kind of higher level, because that's a problem. Once they leave the schoolboy setup, the highest level for them to attain typically would be the collegiate football that they play in the US. And if it's not that, they're looking at the Premier League. And as exciting as it is for all of us to watch, local football, we have to admit that it isn't exactly the best springboard for getting into the top levels of football. Most places, never mind Europe. So you really need to get them into what would be a higher level, a higher standard, you hope anyway, which is the national setup. Get and a national setup, that is, and get them involved. And when you get that now, then you find other clubs outside of just this side of the world being more interested in them. Because the truth is, when you go collegiate level up there, in the US, that is, you play for about 3 to 4 years at that level before you really get a chance to be drafted. And it's a decent way of doing things in terms of preparing a man for life and not just to play football. But at the same time, that's 3 to 4 years that maybe if they were fully determined to go into football, that could have been spent maybe developing them to a level that it wouldn't have gotten, they wouldn't be able to get to at that collegiate level, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, but remember the collegiate system, I played 4 years of football and I mean it's good. So I think that if we track our players, if we pay attention, I remember scoring a lot of goals in my final year, and I mean there were no checks to see, well, how this player is doing. I scored 26 goals in my final year, and nobody. I remember somebody even sent information. I mean, this is years ago. Sent information. Oh, this player scoring so many goals. Nobody even checked. Cause they don't care. We have to do a better job at checking. And I'm not saying that I was good enough to be a part, but at least check. At least
it's not just isolated to your time either, because even just yesterday, a video of Anthony Grant speaking about playing for Jamaica, and he was asked why just now. He said he didn't know he didn't know how they did it in terms of how you get the call up, and he said that he didn't know you had to call them, because in England normally what they do is they check on you and they keep tabs on you, and then at some point they send you an email and say, hey, look, we're interested in getting you involved in the national setup, and they come in and join. He didn't know that you had to call them, but I'm thinking, well, how backward is that? Why do I have to call you? Shouldn't you be the one keeping tabs on me? Especially because it's not a local player, but that whole side of it is a different thing. But that just shows you that there's a weakness in the system, in the process, I should say.
There is. Chris, I forget your last question, but Manning's man joins. So.
You're muted, Chris.
Manning's man is here. This is the first time Manning's man has been on the show. So bless up Manning's man. What's up? How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Give thanks and greetings to your fellow panelists, Jamal and Philip. And this is not my first time. This is actually my second time.
Yes, your second time on the show.
Yeah,
all right. So, Manning's man, the schoolboy football is back. I know you don't have a lot of time because you have prior engagements. Schoolboy football is back. How excited are you?
Well, my school is going to win the D'Costa Cup, so I'm very, very excited. I mean, we have been winning all our preseason games, so look out for the dear Manning School, our ancient light of learning in splendor shining over all the West. So looking forward to that. Well, but I'm glad for the youngsters. I think with all the negatives that has been said recently about the state of the failure to develop players in the best possible way through a schoolboy football system, it has proven to have its advantages, and so I am glad that youngsters get the opportunity. Not everyone who plays schoolboy football wants to be a professional footballer, but it provides them with the opportunity. I think maybe Jamal was saying that earlier. It presents them with the opportunity to venture into other things. And if there's a way that I can play a sport that I'm good at to get myself into a scholarship to pursue what I want to educationally, I mean, it's all good. And so my expectation is never for schoolboy football to be a developmental tool, but to be an educational tool because it is school first and football second, not football first. It's not an academy, it's a school. And we must always remember that the first priority of a school is to educate its students. All right. And if you can play some sports alongside that, very good. So I'm excited just because of what the pandemic has done. I know many youngsters who have fallen through the cracks. And I think we are going to, we don't realize it yet. Sometimes the ripple effect of things are not seen in the immediate. I think 6 years from now, we will realize that there's a crop of players who did not play any Man in our DaCosta Cup, who just disappeared. Like we normally lose a lot. I think we're going to lose a lot that would have played their final season between 2019 and 2020. That they are not in Premier League teams because there are only 11 Premier League teams. So where are they? There is no Division 1, no Division 2, no Major League, no Super League. And many of them did not have the educational acumens to go into college. So where is there now? There are no corner leagues. So I don't think we have seen the effects of that yet. So I'm glad that the hole is being plugged by having football this season, just to present them with the opportunity. Even if they are not good, I am happy that they're going to play because somebody is going to get a scholarship. And if one gets a scholarship, it was worth it having the league.
Excellent mornings, man. That can't say it any better. Chris, you're muted.
Before we're heading to that, a little bit of banter, Mannings, man. You said that we all know why you're called Mannings, man. Your school, Mannings, is in Group B. Froome Technical, Godfrey Stewart, Green Island, Green Pond, Petersfield, and Rossies High School. How do you think your alma mater is gonna fare out in that group?
I don't know if Jamal is a management, but he's having on the original blue right there.
No, he's
So-
a St. George's College.
Yeah. Okay. I hope you don't speak about St. George's because I got my scoop on them, and the plan is they're rebuilding. All right. So they're rebuilding. Expect them to lose a lot of games this season. I think they have Rochester and Burkett and one other player. I think they were even trying to get a goalkeeper. St. George's to an extent is like Manning. Like they don't play with the educational part. I know this principle at St. George's, like you have to have the 6 1s, I think, or 6 distinctions are close to that as possible to get into sixth form, which is part of the issue with Mannings. The priority is education, but what they have been able to do is that they have done well at under 14, under 16, and at the same time providing quality education for the kids. Now, the Petersfield team has a coach who was at Mannings, which is Godfrey Stewart, Godfrey Drummond. And so he was at Mannings, had a little dispute in the off season, and so he has moved to Petersfield, took one of the ballers along with him, or one of the ballers followed him. Let's put it that way. He's my friend. We have Everton Tomlinson, who is the president of the FA in Westmoreland, former coach at the school, so he's going to do well. The Froome team is a good team, but Mannings is better than them. The Godfrey Stewart team, they played some games. Again, they are rebuilding. Like Phoenix Academy defeated them badly in preseason. Mannings played that same Phoenix team and defeated them. We recently defeated Cornwall College. We defeated the same Stets team that defeated Kingston College in a friendly. So if you go by those results, like I said, and they have kept all of their players. They have also Javani Williams, who left Mannings to go to Mount Pleasant, is back at Mannings now. They have a couple of players who also played for Jamaica, the under 15 and under 17. So they have a good crop of players who were there in 2019 when they went to the quarterfinals. So they have a really solid team.
How many players you have back from 2019?
16.
16. You have the number 10 still there?
No. I think
I demand
right.
that man.
Oh well, he's not there, but the number seven, like Tavar Thompson, the one they call Port Bone, he's at Cavaliers. The captain Hines is going away on scholarship, but they have a very because they did well in under 14, under 16, and it's the same group of players that they have been able to keep, and so I expect a lot from them, though they're in it's a bigger zone. But I think like teams like Green Island, who have not had a program for so many years, a lot of those teams I think are going to struggle. Mannings have been training for quite a while as well. I don't know if I should be saying this because but long before the
Yeah,
team.
man. That is new. That is not news to anybody. I mean, several teams have been training for quite a while.
Yeah. But I know what, yeah. Well, let me just say this way. I know some schools, I don't know if Manis is a part of it, that they have been training long before permission was given. But, not go. Maybe Philip can call us some more names and
No,
then
man,
I'll
you give
tell
up
if
your
Manis.
me. I don't
Yeah,
call it no name.
Phil, not gonna do that,
You just give up your school name. You just give up your school name. I not calling nobody at all, sir.
Well, Phil knows
Yeah,
the ropes. Man.
but Manning's man, Manning's don't know nothing but winning schoolboy football though. That is a different kettle of fish, because you got to the second round the last time, and you had a good team, but buck your toe when they face some serious opposition. What difference you have with the program now apart from Everton Tomlinson, which is a good coach.
Yeah, let me tell you, because one of the things that has changed from my time to now is one, there has been a little bit more leeway in terms of what are acceptable qualifications at certain levels. Like during my time, you'd like to get to sixth form, you had to have like ones, and that was because all the other schools in and
They're allowing
around,
some trees now.
all no. All the other, come on now, this is Mandy's team. You have to have one or two. But all the other schools around, their top kids would have to come to Manning's for sixth form. So the spaces, though Manning's kids would have easier access, it was very competitive. So many footballers would end up leaving, and they would not. I mean, the school don't easily repeat kids, so we never even recruited. So it's not like the school would go out. And some of those things have changed because of the involvement of like a Derek Brown from the Past Student Association. There's a better Past Student Association that has been supporting the team. I mean, these guys are professional. I mean, everything is in place. They have the nutrition thing going on. They have the psychologists coming in. They have physical trainer. They have all the equipments that they need. So there's a better program in place now, which I think that needs to happen to a lot of schools. I think a lot of schools have suffered because predominantly the Kingston or the Manning Cup school and a few schools outside of Kingston, they actually have a football program. The other schools had a football team. And there's a difference between having a team and a program. A program is a sustained, systematic way of developing your DaCosta Cup or Manning Cup team from first form all the way up to upper six, hoping that by fifth form, lower six, and upper six, you should be in the finals. And so now we are beginning to see that. So they are very at the primary school level. They have scouts that go out, look for the kids, and get them into the school from first round. Where they are falling off educationally, they help to build them up. So because of that whole system, this team is not a this year team. This is a team of players from first form all the way up to fifth and sixth form. And so that is what I think will make the difference this time around.
All right, I know
Chris Manning's a preseason favorite now.
I know at some point Manning's man is going to jump off. So I want to before you jump off, thank you for coming on as well. For giving your 2 cents as well, because I know you're in tune with not only Manning's High, but of course schoolboy football as well. Jamal, I can't ask Phil this question because Phil has to remain objective and unbiased. Looking at the group for Manning Cup, where you Let me just pull it up. Jamaica College, St. George's College, Eltham, Bridgeport, Charlie Smith, Kingston High, Calabar, and Kingston Technical. Do you think that St. George's College might come out of that group, or you think it in the rebuilding process they might not be able to make it?
Well, you have to. So there are two answers to that. You have one that says they should, and one that says they might not. So you say they should because rebuilding or otherwise, St. George's College in a group with Jamaica College really should only have that as their biggest concern. But then when you consider they're also in a group with Charlie Smith and Calabar, who, and this isn't just recency bias, have been decent teams for a while. You know, you have to think that it's not going to be so straightforward because it's the top two and then the best. How many third place teams?
I think it's the two best third place teams
team.
go through as well.
Yeah.
There you go. So, you know, it doesn't offer you a lot of space. I think maybe, that being said, I think maybe the one of those two best third place teams might come out of this group. So that could be a comfort for a St. George's College who is rebuilding. Maybe they can get that. Maybe they can get into that position of either qualifying directly or one of the best third places for the team, for the round. So like I said, that's the should answer. They might not though, because rebuilding is never as easy as it sounds. Because you don't typically, when you're rebuilding a team, you're not expecting to win at the same time. You know, you're not expecting to progress at the same pace when you're rebuilding. Because basically, whereas you would just flash out the blocks and, you know, you from the drive phase, you know, just going and going and going until you reach the finish line. When you're rebuilding, you consider every step that you're taking. You know, there's a slower pause, so to speak, between the steps. Because, for example, maybe if you had a team that is already well established, you would be playing a certain player because you get the result in the moment. But if you're in the process of rebuilding, which means that you're looking further ahead than just what's right in front of you, you think maybe this player should be playing in this game or in these moments because it would be beneficial for them and the team further down the line than it would be right now. Not to say that you sacrifice the here and now for the sake of what comes later, but it is just a different consideration. Not to mention who the team actually is also you know, a consideration different from when you're just playing in the moment. So I would say I'm leaning on the side of should, and that has an amount of bias to it. Naturally, it's not the right color blue, but you know, it's still there in the veins. So I'm leaning a bit more on the should side, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, because I think George's, let's be honest, Jamaica College has really been that team, and even Kingston College more so of late, for a while. It hasn't really been St. George's College, and it hurts me to say it, but it's the truth. So when you consider that plus the rebuilding, the chances are slim. But I genuinely do think that one of the best third place teams could come from this group. So I'd say they should get through, but then to kind of balance it out, you know, taking a bit of bias, but to balance it out, I'd say they probably go through as one of the third best, one of the two third best teams for the round.
Chris.
Yeah, yes, Phil.
Last time I checked, everybody is rebuilding, you know. Everybody is rebuilding. I mean, you lost your. I mean, for a team to win, you have to have some strong 18 and 19-year-olds. Everybody, right. As Manning's man said, those guys that had their last season in 2020, they're gone, and we don't know where a lot of them are. You know, so everybody, if you check everybody's team, there's, you know, between 3 to maybe 8 or 9 players you have retaining from 2019, and half of those guys weren't starters. So if you ask JC will tell you the same thing. Or we don't have, you know, tell me some of the starters JC had from 2019 that are in their team now.
Well,
would look for the coaching. Curtis has always seemed to get it right. Curtis have positive Marcel here right beside him still. As the coaching staff changed,
No,
no.
that's
Curtis, no.
right.
I think Burkett is
Yeah,
there as well supporting the program.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Albert Burke.
And
I
his
think
son
Albert.
is playing.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think we should trust the coaches. And I mean, when I look at this group, every team in that group has won some title, you know, whether Manning Cup multiple times or Walker Cup at least one time, But you can't really look at that though because it's exciting to see that we have these 16-year-olds coming up and we're going to learn about these young guys in the next month or so. There will be some new names, and I'm sure Georges will have some names that we will call that we never knew about before. And I'm sure they will do well. I can't say that they will go through or whatever because this is in fact a tough group, but I think everybody is relatable.
Yeah. Let me just, because I have to run, guys, but let me just say this. Like a lot of people, because Calabar has not done well in quite a while, but I want you to remember that Calabar won the under 16 tournament last time around. So there was known the Costa Cup last year. So those under 16 players are now 17,
18, yeah,
18, and they have kept them together for the most part, which include one of the players, the goalkeeper that Phoenix Academy took to on their tour. They also have Ainsworth who played in the Premier League, and they have several other players there from Cavaliers, and they have Layla, who is the coach out at Cavaliers over there.
Yep.
I'm
agreeing with you.
Right. So my point is the first game is there are a couple of things. There's no 2 rounds. It's 1 round of games. Right. So it's not like you get time to recover or figure out anybody. It's just preseason, and the first game is Calabar versus JC.
Jamaica College.
I think that game is going to determine who comes first, and if Calabar is totally
early.
Yeah. Listen. I'm telling. I think this is the most important game in the group because, in my opinion, because you don't get to play them again, it's important for Calabar because they need to make they can't afford to be beaten badly. In fact, if Calabar beats JC, they win the zone. This is how early I'm predicting it because I'm telling you.
Manning's man, where you going?
I am sure.
You sound like a genie.
I am sure. Yeah, my channel name, I am sure sports. I am sure that if Calabar wins this first game on Friday against JC, they are going to win this zone. Give me the other teams because the other teams, I mean, the KT team is not, from what I've seen.
KT, Kingston High, Eltham, Bridgeport. Yeah.
Bridgeport. And then St. George's. And Charlie Cemetery. I think St. George's could get third because I think third place is either coming from A or B because those are the 2 larger groups. The group with the smaller group, it's going to be hard to get a third place.
Yeah, the percentage.
Because you have less games to play, less points to go for. So it's obvious that third place is going to come from either group A.
Yeah, unless the group is tight.
Yeah. Unless the groups have a lot of drawn games. And that is why I think like this first game, you need a winner because if the games are so competitive, like if JC and Calabar draw, JC and George is drawn, Calabar, it could just shift up all things happening in the group. So I'm looking, this is a JC man, I'll be careful what I say right here. That this Jerry Miller is out by JC, Coach Miller. Right. So I'm looking forward to that first game, but I am pipping Calabar to go to at least the semifinals of the Manning Cup.
Wow.
This year. I think
they have Kelson as well who
listen, they have a quality
just played for Arnett.
Yeah, they have a very good side. Who they played in? They played. They dropped 8-0 in a practice game against one of the Premier League teams. Just recent. Who was it?
But Mannings, man, practice games are just practice games, though, you know. No,
Well,
you spend a lot of time talking about practice game. But
if I if you're a
we're a
coach,
baller. A
Wanda,
practice game, a practice game.
if you're a coach and your team is losing all the practice games, what would you think?
It depends on what I'm looking for. It depends on what I'm looking for. So I might be looking for something. I might. I can't remember in the second half, you know, you put out a different team.
Okay, let me give you a good example.
I play a match against one of the teams. I'm just telling you, I played a match. I was playing, believe it or not, against one of the teams. And then play them second 11 at the start.
All right, let me give you a good example.
Second 11 at the start. The second 11 now go play.
We just finished the ICC Cricket World Cup, and West Indies had some build-up game, same practice game.
Yeah.
All right, and we saw the signs. And you know what everybody was saying? It is just practice game.
No, but you
wait until they get into the tournament. And when
you saw the signs of the
That's different. Because you saw that way before the World Cup and the practice games.
Those signs were clear.
Not gonna do well. That's a bad example. But
those signs were way before the practice match.
You have to take the practice game into consideration so much as there's not been a lot of other things to judge off of. I think so. You know, these practice games you think then would be pretty close to what they might look like. But then at the same time, they are still only practice games, so they might not be actually working on the actual team so much as maybe a particular tactic or a particular setup, or just some patterns that they want to establish and get into the muscle memory. So there's two sides to it, because I think knowing what they're doing during a practice game and then seeing what kind of result they get out of it is important. But they really have not no bearing, but
very little.
It's a different kettle of fish when you start out about the actual competition level.
Makes sense. So Coach Miller says, just bring it up. I wonder how much you can look into practice games.
After run, I said, man. So I'm very sorry, but hey, blessings, guys. Very sorry.
Management, thanks again for joining. Of course, we're gonna actually close off right now. Actually, so
we must do this after the first round. I'll say where
well, definitely, I'll be doing this. Speaking about the games that happen, because of course, guys, remember to look for I Am Sure Sports on YouTube. How much subscribers you have now?
Close to 2,000. We just
close to 2,000 subscribers. So remember to get that up. Also check out Sportsmax. They will be doing the doubleheader on Friday. Phil, correct me?
Yeah.
So the doubleheader includes the first match of both the Costa Cup and the Manning Cup.
Man, look like him brother, you know. Can tell him the parents were Christians, David and Philip.
I know that they have some similar qualities, but so the first match of the Costa Cup sees Clarendon College facing Edwin Allen, and the first match of the Manning Cup sees Jamaica College facing Calabar. So the CC versus Edwin Allen is a Group E clash, and of course Calabar versus JC.
Good match too.
Yes, it is a very good match.
Yeah,
very good match. I want to see what Edwin Allen has, but of course you know that the two CCs always come out firing on all cylinders. So want to see how good they are this time around.
Have a nice team, man.
And Edwin Allen does have a good team, so we're going to check that out. I'm not going to reveal to you guys what I'm doing in terms of my inclusion in schoolboy football. I don't want to reveal that yet because there's some stuff in the pipeline, but you can check out Sportsmax as well. to view schoolboy football, because let me tell you guys, when it comes to schoolboy football and presenting schoolboy football, Sportsmax does an awesome job at doing that. Whether it's the profiles of the teams, whether it's the profiles of the players, whether it's the profiles of the coach, whether it's the profiles of the games itself. And they have a very good commentary team. People like Donald Oliver will be doing that, and I'm not going to reveal his nickname, Donald Oliver, as well. So you know, we're not gonna do that, because if we do that, you know, say Donald always have a little soft spot for that. But also I am on 876 stream, so I'm on both Sportsmas and 876 stream. 876 stream has a podcast, the third half podcast. You can view it. We've been doing some good work over there. And of course, the guy that runs the show, the guy that does everything, is the guy right here, which is Jamal Tucker. And he does a very good job, an awesome job. And the person that a lot of times is behind how the show runs in terms of schoolboy football is also here, Philip Riley. So we have some good persons behind the scenes right here talking about schoolboy football. Guys, it's been an awesome discussion with you two, and as well Manning's man. You guys have been here for most, if not all, of the stream, and I can't thank you guys enough for being here. I will be doing a stream on Sunday again discussing the opening games. You guys can feel free to join if you want to. But remember, it is 3 groups for Manning Cup, 2 groups that have 7 and 1 that has 6. And then for the Costa Cup, it's 8 groups.
1 of 8.
8 groups.
1 of 8.
Pardon me?
1 of 6.
1 has 8. Right. Sorry. So for the Da Costa Cup, there are 8 groups. Group A, I believe, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 groups. Group A, that's the only team that has 8 groups. I know that 3 groups have 7, and 1, 2, 3, 4 groups have 6. No, 5. So 3 groups have 6. 1 group has 5. 1 group has 8, and the 3 groups have 7. That's for the Da Costa Cup. And those are 32 teams, as I said, Phil, in terms of the reduction from the last time they played Manning Cup, which was 2 years ago. So it's going to be still a good competition, but it's going to be a reduced competition.
Yeah.
So
and only 2 teams coming from each group.
That's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, I want you to pick who coming from each group. That's not gonna be easy at all.
No, it's not gonna be easy. Yeah, I am going to be looking forward to it. So thank you guys so much. Thanks, gents, for joining. And I hope you guys can come on to future streams, because we know that schoolboy football normally finishes in December, but as per the green light and the time that it starts, it's going over into next year, 2022. This is the first time since I've watched intently schoolboy football that it's going into another year. So albeit pandemic, I don't care. The boys from the different high schools get to play football, and that's the most important thing, Phil. And I know you're particularly happy about that, especially with the fact that a bunch of youngsters won the Premier League title for the first time in 40 years for Cavaliers, well, beating Waterhouse on penalty. So I know that with the inclusion of schoolboy football again this year, I know it's an exciting thing for you, for the government to give the green light. So both of you gentlemen, what do you guys have to say? Your last words, starting with Phil.
Yeah, Chris, and 10 of those 11 players that started for Cavalier played schoolboy football the last 5 years.
Yes, sir.
And the 11th player, Melvin Doxley, is from St. Lucia.
He's from St. Lucia, right?
So, that says a lot, about, trusting young players and giving them the opportunity, and those guys will run you all day, So we never get to talk about this, but quite a few of the players that are playing in schoolboy football, Manning Cup and Da Costa Cup, played in the Jamaica Premier League. So it'll be interesting to see how those guys transition or those guys stepping back down to schoolboy football, how well they'll do. I spoke about Kelson Earl that played for Arnett, Ainsworth that played for Cavalier. I think there are another two players at Mito, who formerly are from now at JC. So he moves with his 20 goals to JC. Let's see what happens there. Yeah, and I mean there are other players. There the twins at Lennon. It'll be interesting to see how those guys do as well, stepping back down. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to what which new names we will learn. Those guys who played under 16 2 years ago and now step up to the big leagues, what they will bring to the table. And I hear there are some young, exciting players out there, ready to play. I'm not going to call any name. I just hear that there are some young, but I'm looking forward to it. Excited. But it's going to be a lot of hard work.
Oh, yes, we're prepared for it. Jamal, you final words?
Yeah, well, like you mentioned just now with the whole change in the schedule, I've been thinking for a while that I think there should have been some sort of increased competition in schoolboy football, maybe lengthening even the season, for example, just something to give the guys some more, some more high level football to play. We've been starved of it for a year, so I'm just happy to see it back in any description, frankly. And I'm curious to see how they do manage that in the difficulty, but then maybe too my thinking is that this might kind of make them say, hey, this whole carrying over the season into the new year thing may not be such a bad idea. And maybe we can see some changes to the format in later times. But that's a different story altogether. I'm just excited to see schoolboy football back. And I want to see, like Philip is saying, I want to see how they manage to get some of these younger players, some of these exciting players that we know are around, how they handle the stage, which is either new to them or is just, different to them, because of course there's not going to be as much, if any, fans around like one time. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle it, and I'm curious to see what we do going forward with schoolboy football.
All right, thanks guys so much again for joining the live. It's been awesome. We do this again on Sunday. Even though if it's by myself or it's with these intelligent guys when it comes to schoolboy football or football in general, of course we'll do it again. So thank you guys, Phil, thank you Jamal, thank you to the people that viewed, Craig and Coach Miller, thank you for commenting, and also guys, you can rewatch the stream. Once it is over, it will be up on my channel. The goal is to 300 subscribers by the end of this month, November, and 500 by the end of the year. It's 213 so far. And so we need to get the likes up. So smash the like button, subscribe if you're new. Hit that post notification bell so you will be notified whenever I start a stream or upload a video. Again, guys, thank you so much. And that's it. Bye, guys. Later.